Hey guys. I mean, there we go. Hey guys, welcome to Faz Radio. Let's get started. This is my warm up noise. So, there's a little bit of drama going on because a little bit of drama going on with Gala lately.
A little bit.
Apparently, when people speak out on the Gala Discord, sometimes they get silenced, sometimes they get banned, and I wanted to give some reasonable thoughts about that from both sides. I support both sides 100%, which is kind of odd. I mean, you'd think that I'd support each side 50%, but I support them both 100% because I give Gala the benefit of the doubt in situations, and I give the people that are moderated the benefit of the doubt. Specifically, and I could start with the people that get moderated. Buying NFTs for crypto is kind of like a new thing, and it seems to have a different set of rules than buying physical items. Not just how you would pay for it, but how you react and how you talk with the proprietor of an establishment that you would purchase an NFT from. And I think all these rules are still figuring themselves out, and people are trying to navigate this new space with an old set of rules. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. I had to mute. I think people are acting like, when they go in Gala's Discord, that they're walking into a store like Target and buying a pair of shoes. And if the shoes don't fit, then, well, if things don't work out right, because in the case of buying shoes or buying NFT shoes, just the fulfillment of the order seems to be a problem, which doesn't seem to be much of a problem in a store if you already have the thing in your hand. So the challenges are a bit different, and the situations are a little bit different, and the reactions are a bit different. And I think my personal angle is I think the reactions are very important. The reactions of people who have a problem with Gala Games and the reactions of Gala Games. But I'll let you get started because I need a drink of water.
Well, thank you. Happy Faz Friday, CFA. So I'm going to use a very well-worn phrase of Faz's. Boy, there's a lot to unpack there. And so what we mean by drama is there's two sides to this, like Faz mentioned. And we've had many a discussion at CFA about the presentation of views, personal opinions, and things like that. We are way more open at CFA than Gala Games Discord as far as what you can say, how you can say it, how you can express yourself. And that's a double-edged sword, right? So I think we're all in agreement that it's Gala Games server. They can make whatever rules they want for their server and enforce said rules. I do believe at the same time that when things go sideways and money especially is involved from the community side, people should have the ability to vent their anger and frustrations, especially when it hurts their pocketbook. Now, Faz and I, all right, you think Faz Radio is long, right? We'll go 3-4 hours offline just hashing out things behind the scenes and expressing opinions and all that kind of fun stuff. And there are so many facets to this. What I would like to kind of start with, because we talked about this a little bit last night, is there's a there's a there's a tone in which people present themselves when they're angry, and that isn't a good one usually. And that comes from the community when something goes sideways or they have a problem or anything like that. And where the clash happens and where the difference is, and I'd like to point this out because I think this is ridiculously important, is how the Gala staff, whether it's a red name, a purple name, uh, a green name, or anything, interacts back to that on the Gala Games platform. So back, it's probably a week or two ago, something went sideways with something. I don't even remember what it was now, but Bucks showed up in the chat. And I'm watching, the meme that you have the popcorn, the guy sits back with the popcorn, and I'm like, oh boy, she walked into a hornet's nest. And of course, she's the only colored name within sight. And then she finally got some reinforcements. But the point is there was a gentleman that was just going off and mad. And Bucks handled it like a pro. She's listening and responding and is not being harsh or aggressive or anything. Another colored name showed up. I don't remember what color. And had made a comment of, hey, settle down, simmer down, whatever. And Bucks corrected them and said, no, they have a right to be angry. Let them speak and get their anger out. Think about that for a moment, because traditionally, when we've seen other green names and some of the red names come into a conflict like that, especially when they're when they're solo, that isn't the attitude that is projected. And I would suspect that it's because they're frustrated. The colored name is frustrated with having to deal with this on a regular basis, and they're just at wit's end, and they're like, I can't listen to another person bitch and complain, so I'm going to take the aggressive route to try and shut this down right now. The question is, where does that come from? Is it because that's what other green names have done in the past and they're trying to emulate that? Is that the way to go? Why is that the case? Why is Bucks so different than some of the other colored names? The difference being Bucks had the room calmed down completely in about 10 minutes.
That wasn't me, by the way. That was
Right.
him.
No, I'm on somebody's spam list today. I've gotten like 100 text messages and I'm getting phone calls.
Turn it off, man. You're in a live radio show.
I know, I'm trying. So the difference is that it goes on forever when the colored names take the aggressive route, and it'll go on for hours. And then, Bitbender shows up and he's like, all right, I'm here. Go ahead, vent, get it over with, blah, blah, blah. And again, that blasé attitude, and that inflames things more too. So
Can I jump in here really quick?
Of course.
I was completely with you until you said that blasé attitude. And but so I have a different interpretation of of how he responds to that, and this is because text-based chat tends to have a different people read in their own hostilities a lot of times, I think. And so I don't always take it in the same way, but some people do. And so tone really matters. And there are some people that go out of their way to express tone in good ways. Emoticons do a really good job of that. But my observation, like I was saying earlier, is I get I feel like if Gala Games' purpose is to sell us NFTs, that's one of their stated purposes. Okay, then they're like a store. And in one sense, they're here to help when there's a problem or if somebody has a complaint and stuff like that. Um, However, because they're not like a store, because there's some semi-independent things about it, and people aren't investors and stuff like that, the sometimes the attitude, sometimes these discussions on the Gala Discord turn into arguments. Personally, having a pretty big service background, I've never found it a good idea to argue with customers. I mean, let's be honest. Most of the people on the Gala Discord are customers. They may or may not be investors, depending on how you see it, but they're definitely customers. Uh, you're selling NFTs to them, or you want to sell NFTs to them, or they've purchased a lot, and customers get unruly, definitely. And customers are definitely asked to leave the premises. If you go to Target and start screaming at a manager, you won't be there long. Um, However, if you can adjust your message accordingly, and if you can play your verbal cards right, you can actually get somewhere. And so that's what I kind of see. I think there's a point. There's room to say that Gala Games doesn't always have a good tone when dealing with people, but to be fair, the kind of tone that they have to deal with from people on the Discord a lot of times is just mean. They get a lot of mean people or mean spirited people. And some people aren't up in your face mean spirited. Sometimes they're passive aggressive and they just say shit over and over from day to day to day. It's like you going up to your wife and telling her, I think you're kind of ugly today. And she might be saying, well, she might say, um, you mean you think my hair looks bad? You think I look fat? What? I think you look ugly today. And I mean, yeah, you might have a point. Her hair could look bad, which would make her look ugly. So you'd have a point by saying that you're ugly, that she's ugly. But that's the most wrong way to say it. You're not going to make any friends by doing that. Yet people go on the Discord after they spend, let's just say, $1,000 on an NFT, and like, this is bullshit. And I mean, come on. You expect to be able to go into Target and be able to start telling them that their products are bullshit? Again, you're not going to be there very long. I mean, what do you want?
So I think a lot of you who listen here know me pretty well in that I'll speak my mind, and sometimes people don't like the way that I phrase things. But this is I think, a big part of the problem. So I'm just going to say it, and I don't mean to be disrespectful when
Say
I
it.
phrase it
Say
like
it.
this. I just don't know. I don't know any other way to say it. Um, there's a lot of people who are putting money into Gala that shouldn't be. People just don't know what they're doing. They're looking for a lottery ticket because they've seen or heard of a lot of other people that are getting completely looted off of this stuff. And I can tell you, if you did a search on both Gala's Discord or our Discord, search for the words saved for months to buy an NFT. You are in no position at all to be buying an NFT if that's what it takes, because you don't have enough money to be in this platform if that's the case. And that's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings when I say that, but it, that's where a lot of the problems come from, because that is, you scrimped and saved for 4 months to buy that Vox at $2,800, and you worked really hard for that, maybe even working overtime, and then something goes sideways and you lose your $125 gas fee, and now you can't afford the Vox, and you're going to jump into the Gala Discord, and you're going to let whoever will listen to you have it. Now, is that unjustified? Well, you got to look at it from both sides. First of all, maybe you shouldn't have jumped into that, but at the same time, that's why you're mad, and that is fully justified. Yes. Um, that's the problem. A lot of people are overextending themselves and creating stress and problems. And I don't want to sound like an elitist. I don't want to sound like people don't belong there when I say that. But you have to you have to take the dollar signs seriously. If you're that close to where you can't buy the Vox if your gas fee goes sideways, if there's a gas war, you might want to wait for something different to to put that money into.
Well, okay. So the same kind of situation happened with Kickstarter a number of years ago. Kickstarter started becoming very popular, and then after a while, people started having real issues with Kickstarter because apparently people were treating Kickstarter like a store. They're like, well, I want to get the thing, and so then they go buy the thing, and then like 9 months go by, and the thing hasn't fulfilled yet. It's because they hadn't made it yet, and Kickstarter is really kind of this low end. Well, I would say it's not. Well, it's not even a venture capital thing. I was going to say venture capital, but it's this way for companies to make money to be able to get started, and so they sell products before they have them. They sell it before they've designed them even. And then, of course, if you some will make claims that are completely impossible, and then they'll try to string along their customers, just like they might string along venture capitalists. Uh, and there you go. The whole point is Kickstarter is a gamble when you buy from there. It's just hopefully you pick the right ones. Well, the same thing with projects like Gala Games, crypto projects in general. I like to bring up Star Atlas as an example also. Star Atlas has some supremely, profoundly ambitious goals. Um, my background in development has me thinking that's a bunch of bullshit, but you never know, they might. And of course, that's the gamble. And the SEC likes to make a big deal about protecting consumers in the crypto world, and we're all like, yeah, get out of our face. You guys are mean. You guys are whatever. But they have a point, which is the ordinary Joe isn't prepared to drop $2,800 on an NFT. They really aren't. Now we could say, what the hell is Gala even thinking, selling an NFT for $2,000 or $4,000 or $20,000? Hell, they even have them for $100,000. What the hell are they doing? They're doing it because people will buy it, man, and it just might not be you. Anyway, enough beating on the customers and people in the Gala Discord. Let's go beat on Gala some more.
No, so I think of us as community advocates and crypto advocates. And we try and educate as much as we can along the way. We do that with this radio show, we do it in the Discord. And you brought this up, and as everything, and you'll notice this. I hope that you guys are picking up on this as well. Because when Faz says something, you kind of blow him off for a while. You're like, guy, he's full of shit. And then you start thinking about some of the stuff he says, and you go, okay, well, I see his point. And then after a while, you start to kind of come around. And one of those things I really want to hit on, because it, as usual with Faz, it took me, I don't know, maybe 6-8 weeks to let this sink in.
Probably months.
Here, yeah. Well, 8 weeks is 2 months to you and me. He made a comment to me back then, and he probably made it to several of you as well. Why isn't Gala educating people about their platform and how to use it? Now, there's obviously regulatory issues that you have to be careful on. You because then if people lose money, they can then sue and say, well, Gala educated me on how to do this. I did it that way and I lost money. It's their fault. So there's a fine line there. But having, for lack of a better way to put it, disclaimers with things wouldn't be a bad idea. It wouldn't be a bad idea to have a maybe a channel in their Discord that's knowledge base dash Townstar. Now they have Townstar discussion and stuff like that, but maybe a knowledge base. What is the true cost of these of the money that you put into Gala? What does that represent?
Oh, that's a
No,
non-starter there. Companies don't
no.
do that.
Okay. All right. Wait. Now, this can open up a whole new can of worms, and I don't want to get into this discussion because it'll take us way off track. But again, they hit that investment thing. Okay, investing money and being an investment are two entirely different things, and I think the community has had that drilled into their head enough to where they understand the difference. And if they don't, it's that choice. So we have people who are making the choice to buy a Vox. They buy the Vox, they go and unveil it, and it's a very low rarity, and then they get all bent out of shape and say they got scammed. Now I can understand Gala getting upset with that, and when the people complain, you're taking a chance. But did Gala really explain that enough? Did they put out a chart before the drop that said, here are your odds of getting what's out there? Here we're releasing 1,000 of the common, 800 of the uncommon, 400 of the rare. Did they do that? No. So I can understand the side where the community goes, that's bullshit. All these people are spending $2,800 and they're getting something that we don't know the utility of it. We don't know if there's a reward. We don't know this. And I didn't even know my odds going in. Now, yes, that's the fault of that is on the person who paid the money for the box. They should not have bought the box if they don't realize there's a really good possibility they're going to get a low-ranking Vox. But I do think that Gala should be responsible for listing all of that stuff up front for people. What do you think?
It's not a bad idea because, in my opinion, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to lead in the space, and that's kind of what you want to do. You want to lead in a new space that's being created. When I think of leading in a space, I'm thinking back to Microsoft and how Microsoft does things. Microsoft basically says, if you're leading, you get to write the rules of the space. And that's why they like to lead the space. Some spaces they get in late and then they come from behind and then they get in front and lead it due to their massive amounts of resources and stuff. But it's true. So lead in the space, not only build the software, but set a direction, set an example for other people to follow. Give your I don't know, your five ways of doing things, or your 5 points that you want to guarantee or something, or who knows. Give some sort of standard. If you set the standard, everybody's just going to follow it, and it'll be easy to see that everybody's copying your standard. So, yeah, that's an excellent opportunity right there. I get the feeling that, and I've said this to you many times off Faz Radio, I get the feeling that Gala wants to move fast and break things. They just want to get things out there, just get them worked on. And I would say, or my opinion, I don't run a development company. My non-development company running opinion is you're losing a big opportunity here. You're giving away a lot of leadership by just getting it out there. I feel like Gala Games in some way is like a cook with a whole bunch of hamburgers that he has to make, and they're just slapping hamburgers up there as quickly as they can. Okay, well, this one doesn't have a top bun. Good enough. Throw some ketchup on it. Mark it down a little bit, or whatever. Actually, they're not even marking it down. They're marking it up because people have such a demand for hamburgers. Instead of what they're saying is they're just calling it I don't know, they're calling it something else. They're just like, oh, let's just invent a name for it, charge higher, and then people will go for it. Fine. I go for a lot of things. I buy a lot of those things. But I think they have a really big opportunity to lead, and that's where I like to dovetail into, or I'd like to dovetail into their messaging. I've mentioned this messaging thing for a number of months now.
Years.
If they only had better messaging, you could make anything sound better. But I see a lot of reaction from Gala on the Discord. People get really bent out of shape. This is bullshit. This is crap. And then the answers are, the mods are like, hey, cut it out, head out. And then Benefactor gets on and says things like, if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out of here, dude. People are like, how could you say that? And that's, to me, that's not leading. That's taking it personally. And these people may be wrong in the way that they're saying things, but they have a point. And if you happen to have a lot of people saying the wrong things at you, like you're a dick, you're an asshole, whatever, they might have a point. It's just not the one that you're hearing. Why are they thinking that you're a dick? Why are they thinking that you're an asshole? Maybe because maybe you do things without telegraphing what you're doing in advance. Okay, if you don't telegraph it in advance, you can at least have the element of surprise every time, and you can have a bunch of people jumping in. But I think that kind of goes along with what you were saying about they should say this kind of some kind of stuff in advance.
Yeah, so 2 comments on that. The first being, number one, by not putting everything out ahead of time and they sell out, that just encourages them to continue doing it. Because every time they don't mention anything, oh, don't worry, there'll be utility for that. And people go, oh, okay. And they just buy it all and it sells out. So they're not being forced to do that up front. So if they don't have to do it, why would they bother doing it? Number one. Wait. Number two, if I'm the legal team over at Gala, that would frighten me and keep me up at night. In the securities world, okay, when I was in there, we had documents people had to sign. There were certain things that we were required to tell people up front before they went into a mutual fund or a stock or a bond, and it was required to be done. It's called suitability. And you tell people everything that they need to know, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then if they decide to move forward, it takes the legal liability away from whatever company you're representing, right? So if I were to go and sell CFA a bunch of Microsoft stock, and I just put it out there and said, you know what, go buy Microsoft, and a bunch of people buy it and they lose their ass, I'm getting sued. And they're going to win, and I'm going to be probably in the pokey. So if then I were to go in and I were to put the disclaimers out there and tell them everything up front and tell them the risk and tell them what has happened over the history of that and where it's going, and read the news that's published about them and tell them a couple of blurbs about that and say to them, this is risky up front. You could very well lose every dime of your money. It's your choice on whether you want to go forward. Sign this piece of paper. Now, I'm not saying Galleys should make you sign a piece of paper, but you get the gist of where I'm going. And then that person moves forward and they lose their ass. They can't sue me and win. So that's why I'm a proponent, and I've been saying this for a few weeks now. Chocoholic and I got into a great discussion about that if you go back and search in the CFA Discord. It's something where I said, personally, from my standpoint, unless I have a utility, a price, and any reward that they're planning to give up front, I'm not buying anything. because I want to know what I'm getting myself into. I want to know what I'm spending my $2,800 on and what I'm going to get for it. Now, that doesn't mean there has to be a reward as in tokens somewhere, right? So Faz and I had this discussion. This Vox that they just sold, the Walking Dead one, right? The community hounded on the Gala server. Finally, they came out and they said, no, there is no token reward for this. This is just a buff. And depending on the rarity, the higher the rarity, the more of a buff your character will get. Am I saying that there's something wrong with that? Not at all. If you are going to play the shit out of the Walking Dead game, that $2,800 investment might be epic for you if you get a good one. Even if you get a kind of a crappy one, with not a lot of rarity, it'll still buff your character, just not as much, right? So to a true gamer, that is going to be wonderful, and that's a great spend of your $2,800. But here's the problem, and here's the crux of the whole issue. Gala Games markets themselves to be a play to earn. That's what people expect. They are here to earn. If they were just true gamers and were going to game, they would not spend as much time on Gala Games. They would not be investing in $2,800 NFTs. They would go to their Xbox and spend $12 on a sword in Minecraft and play the game. They are here to make money. That is why they come to Gala Games. So there could be some true gamers in there, but out of the, depending on what number you look at, 16,800 was the last number that I saw, like active participants. So out of that 16,800, I'll bet 800 of them are true gamers here for the games, and 16,000 of them are here to make money.
All right. I'm going to jump in here. That was a pretty long spiel you got there.
Yeah, I'm sorry I went off. I'm getting passionate again.
Well, okay, this play to earn spiel, you have a point, but again, I've been a member. I bought into Star Citizen a while back, and there are a number of other Kickstarters out there that you'd pay to buy virtual property that you don't earn with. And I would have to counter that and say there are a lot more people than you even suspect paying oodles of money for for video games. Minecraft is a different business model, and that's fine. There's room for all sorts of different models, but you're not the more a lot of times you get what you pay for. In the case of a lot of these Kickstarters where you're paying for the development, they're putting in new features because you're giving them money. All you're getting out of it is a game. I have a bunch of ships and Star Citizens. All I have is ships. I spent thousands of dollars. I have ships. Am I an idiot? I don't know. How long is it? How detailed is the game? You literally cannot put together complicated games, tremendously complicated games for $12 or the traditional $60. That's why so many games now have DLC. They'll put out the barest basic game with a bunch of DLC and microtransactions, and people are all complaining that all this costs so much. No, that's a myth. You're not paying $12 for any game that you're playing. You're paying a lot more. You get tricked into buying more. You're buying the buffs on the fly. It's just a different business model. The difference with what Gala is doing is they're doing a lot of it up front, and they're doing it in a different way. They're saying, okay, these things are property. You have ownership, and because you have ownership, you can buy and sell these things as you see fit. I think I think you have a fair amount of gamers. You have a fair amount of people that come to just earn. You have a fair amount of degens who come just to get the money and take advantage of the situation where they buy a whole bunch of stuff and turn around and resell it. Because this is so new, you're going to have all that. And it's going to take years to figure it out. Some places get really draconian. Like if you look at NBA Top Shots, the place is a pain in the ass now. At first, you could buy a bunch of packs for very little money and get quite a return on those. But really, what are baseball cards? why do people buy baseball cards? Do they really buy baseball cards just to see pictures of people? No. They buy it because they say, "Hey, look, I got a rare card." It's a gamble. It's like, wow, I might get something pretty good. Lots of things are gambles that we get into. I get it. So it's not completely. I don't think you're giving the space a fair shake when you're saying people are just here to make money. People are here to actually have fun. They just want to make money too. Making money is a draw. It's definitely a draw, but it's not a it's it's not the only reason.
I think it is for a lot of people. And look, I know, like me personally, right? I would not spend $2,800 on an item for a game if I wasn't going to get something back for it.
That's you. You
Now,
obviously have
well,
never joined the SCA.
no, wait. Now, whether that is an enjoyable game experience or whether it's money, but I
Do you have
really
a hobby
think
like mountain biking? That shit's expensive.
no. My hobby is crypto, so yeah, I throw money into all kinds of things in crypto, sure, but I go in with my eyes open. So if Gala has some great games, I can play any of them for free, but I'm not going to earn, right? So that's great. That's fun, okay? But would I sit and play Town Star for fun? No. Would I play maybe Mirandus based on the hype that we have around what this is supposed to be and how cool it's going to be and groundbreaking, and this economy is going to be so detailed that you got to negotiate for the price of your fucking wheat? I think that's epic, right? So would I be excited to play that for free? Yeah, I would. But then I'm not going to spend $4,000 on an NFT or go to OpenSea and buy an outpost for $22,000 until I know what it's going to do for me.
Well, this is where we get into this is a very new space. And okay, fine. You want to wait until all the money proves itself out, then the people who take the risks in advance, they'll get all the rewards.
Correct.
If you're going to do that, just don't expect that you're going to win a lottery, and it'll be fine.
But that's the issue, right? So you went out and let's say you go out and you buy 5 homesteads and you say, boy, I can either flip these before the game comes out or maybe it'll be in it. And what if they come out and they say, you know what, these homesteads, you can only put your own NFTs in there, you can't rent out the space. Oh shit, I don't have anything to put in there that's going to bring back the $15,000 I spent on a homestead.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
And
that's
that will make the game experience not so great for that person.
well,
So
that's a risk that you just set up a
right, it is.
situation where
It's a
somebody was going
risk.
to buy all that stuff to make a lot of money, only to complain about having a subpar game experience. Okay, that was some crazy thing they did. I could buy up all the rare Star Wars action figures now and then complain later that I'm left with a whole bunch of toys that I have no desire to play with.
Right.
Okay.
And this is, I talked about this last night with you. So here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this and make those super fans very angry. Gala Games does that to themselves. That's my opinion. And the reason is that they are new. This is a new space. We keep saying new, young. We're just at the tip of the iceberg, and they're building and they're going to break things and they're innovating and they're bleeding edge and blah, 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 blah. We're all excited about that, right? So they act like they're the experts and they act like they're the number one gaming company out there. But they're not living up to that on the execution phases. Whereas that's where the community anger comes from, because they've set that expectation and they've set that bar for themselves as, quote, leaders or whatever phrase they want to use, way high. Instead of some of these other platforms like Mist or some of the other ones that we've explored They're not like that. They have humility, and they'll be the first ones that come out and say, hey, we just opened up the marketplace. We hope there's no glitches. Tell us if something goes wrong. We will make it right. And we don't know what we're doing yet, but we're going to get there. But we need your feedback to help. And if something goes wrong, it's fixed immediately, right? And you have somebody to reach out to, and they're not having the CEO get in, like you were saying. The CEO doesn't come into the Discord or whatever and call people fucking assholes. So there's a difference. They've set the expectation high for themselves. Now they're having trouble living up to that. If they would bring it down about 4 notches and just start being humble and being polite and being nice and admit, hey, we want to be the top gaming company. We need your help to do it. And things are going to go sideways quite a bit. We're going to be right here. We're going to start from scratch. Here's what we're going to do to help build this confidence with you. And when things go sideways, we're not going to wait 4 weeks to discuss among the team how we're going to try and make it right. Or these people with Mist especially, they had a competition and they paid out the competition in 3 days. How long does it take for Gala to pay out town rewards?
How much belly aching do you want them to allow? If you're suggesting,
right. So setting that and doing my bitching about Gala, I want to now flip that to the Gala side,
because we're equal opportunity assholes here.
We are.
We hate all of you. I mean, we like all of you.
So you, as a smaller startup company, you don't want to appear weak and small, because especially with the competition coming out, so they want to be the experts. Plus, I truly believe this. I truly believe that they feel that they have the right people in the right places to make the right things happen. Unfortunately, it's just not happening. Does that mean it's wrong for them to have that person in that position? No. It just might mean that they thought something was going to work and it didn't. But then that's where that back end comes in. People are going to get pissed, and fueling the fire with coming in aggressive towards them, it's not, in my opinion, the right way to approach that. To have that humility, to have that humbleness, and to make it right immediately. And I'm talking the next day, whatever resolution is done, and it's there. You and I sat there and we went back and forth about, making this up. I want to challenge anybody. If they have kids, there's a book that you might have bumped into to read to your kids, and it's called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Have you ever read that to your kids, Faz?
Oh, yeah. That's an old one.
So what is the premise? Do you remember what the premise is behind that book?
Oh, yes. Well, I can say this by heart, because my daughter had me read it to her so many times when she was like 2 years old. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's gonna want to have some milk. If you give a mouse some milk, he's gonna want to have a chair to sit down in to drink it. Blah 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 blah, until the very end, where the mouse owns like everything, the entire house, and you're sitting out on the sidewalk.
Right. So we want to stop that, right? We don't want to start that pattern. And I think Gala bit off more than they could chew. And I think now they need to reset themselves and refocus themselves on that community.
Let me address that biting off more than you can chew, because I hear this a lot from a lot of people, including myself. I hear this a lot from a lot of people who don't run software companies, who don't run things like that. And I'd like to use Apple as an example. Apple continuously, in the past, would bite off more than it can chew. Technology companies in general do that all the time. They bite off more than they can chew. They see what they can swallow, and then they work with that. That actually is a skill. And it's not a skill that everybody likes to do, because it really sucks to work for those companies at the time. But everybody else seems to like it. When iPhone came out, when Steve Jobs first advertised that iPhone, it was complete, total fucking vaporware. It didn't exist. He barely got through his demo, and I believe a lot of it was faked out. As a software developer, I have one of the first things I do is I fake out demos. Is you simply you just get a web page up and running, and then you make all the buttons pop open like message boxes or blank screens that say this is going to happen here, or you just make it display a picture and you'd say, well, if you clicked on that picture, then you'd be able to get this, and of course I make it to where when you click on the picture, it hard codes some stuff in the back behind the scenes. You show that to the stakeholders, the people that you want money from, and then they give you the money, and we say, okay, great, we can make this actually happen. So there is a benefit, and this is why actually I put I put money into Gala NFTs. Is I could see that what they were doing. I could see that Eric Schreiermeyer was a deal maker. He would go make deals with people. He would get these games. He'd make these games happen. I saw that he had the right kind of personality for it. I'm like, these NFTs are going to be worth something. They're going to be very useful. So that's a talent that's very hard. Sorry, that's a really hard. That's a really valuable skill to have. However, I think that's almost the only skill sometimes. I think there needs to be somebody who comes along behind that and cleans up. There's got to be somebody that kind of closes the deal and makes it so that okay, fine, you've taken all these risks. Now we need to integrate this into our business. We need to be able to support all these users we brought up and stuff like that. That's where I think there's a problem.
Well, it, and I think it was you that mentioned this in CFA. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but said something along the lines of, during a conversation, that as people come into, when people come into this, it's going to be more sophisticated people, because Gala really has not garnered the majority of the gaming crowd yet. And there's going to be some real sophisticated people who are going to come in and they're going to look at this model. I've seen it on Twitter already. What do you mean they don't have a white paper? What do you mean they don't have this? What do you mean they don't tell you exactly what they're getting? And there's the one thread, I think we posted it. I might have posted it. It was this big long thread. Some guy was like totally trashing Gala because of all those things. And we talk about it here and we see it here. And you and I just argued about this the other night. The decentralized in name only, a dino, right? So on their, it used to be on their front page. It might still be. I haven't been to their website in a while, so forgive me if they've updated it without it. But they tout the word decentralized. But then they turned around and put out the Medium article on the Gala chain, or Gary, or whatever they call it, GYRI. I think they pronounce it Gary over there. And in their statement, it said it was a private proprietary chain. But yet they're talking about decentralized. The Gala node is not really a node. It's proprietary software that you buy a license to use that can be revoked at any time for any reason. NFTs are yours. You can do whatever you want with them. Tokens that you earn on the platform, you can do whatever you want to do. That does not make it decentralized. Owning your assets does not make it decentralized. And we can argue, decentralization is a spectrum. But this ties directly into our main topic of why people get bent. Because people will try and talk about these things on the Gala server, and wham, they're shut down. Don't talk about that. No, we're decentralized. You don't know what you're talking about. and then they'll come over to ours and we can have those conversations. So do you think that turns the attitude of that person into a positive one about Gala, or does it further take that negativity because they feel that they were shunned for trying to talk about something that I believe is very relevant that they should be talking about there?
Okay.
Now, the tone, I will
Mm,
admit, tone matters. If they come in like an asshole,
mm,
they're going to get talked to like an asshole.
mm,
Yes.
mm, mm,
Okay,
mm.
I'm done. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'd like to know in what other venues that are other company venues that you can go in and openly start talking about intimate details about how they do their stuff, and it'd be okay. I'm sure
I
that
will,
there.
but again, that's their fault. They allow that.
Well,
They allow it, and then they beat you for allowing it.
what I was going to say is there's I get it. They're walking into a minefield with Discord. That's where I start saying, yeah, it's their Discord. They can curate whatever stuff that they want. What who the hell are you to think that you'd be able to get away with calling people names or doing whatever, saying whatever you wanted to say on their Discord? There are lines, and when you cross them, they're going to tell you. From
Right.
what I hear, because I haven't crossed many of the lines. From what I hear, they're generally pretty nice about it, and they get rid of you when you give them a whole lot of hell about it. But I mean, there's a degree of openness that no company really wants. And I think, if anything, you could say Gala Games has failed at leading the conversation as where they want the openness. What they really need, honestly, is conversation leaders to come out and say, okay, we're all going to talk about this thing. Somebody starts saying, well, you guys you guys support polluting cryptos. Yeah, go to hell. Anyway, we're talking about freedom.
Right.
I think that the conversation leaders should say, look, we want your input on the balance of this game. We want your input on how this goes. I think, honestly, they don't have enough of those questions being brought up to sufficiently distract people into talking about, I'd say, the proper things. And so people start coming in later, when there's days and days go by and there's no news. They're like, you know what? I really regret spending all this money on Vox.
Well,
And they
again,
just say it. And they just say it. It's like telling your wife, I really regret marrying you sometimes, but you're cool.
so
What do you
that's the
expect?
thing. It's the messaging and the marketing again, because their marketing and their messaging is saying, is welcoming people with open arms for the first time ever. You can own your assets. You can have a say in how Gala runs
Do
its.
you believe those
So
Burger King ads all the time?
okay, but that's the thing. They're this is what I'm trying to support you. They're doing this to themselves by saying things like that, because that's what makes people mad. Because they'll point to it and they'll say, "Well, you said we could help run the develop, how this platform works." Okay, yeah, but what we didn't tell you is we're going to do it by only allowing Gala Games to dictate what is voted on, and if you don't vote for it, well, you're just out of luck. Okay. Well, again, the messaging needs to be changed
Shooty booms.
by, yeah, shooty booms. Oh, I still name my town star town every time for 6 months now has been named Shooty Booms. Because that was a mess. People voted for it. They didn't like the results, so they took it off the node and put it on a spreadsheet. Gee, I wonder why.
That was bad messaging, in my opinion. I
Okay,
think
right.
they
But
they never said really quick. They never said we were going to name it that. They said they wanted input on names, but the way that everybody talked about it was as if it was going to be the name. And of course, they encouraged people, and there's people weren't corrected and so on. So
they did it to themselves.
well, yeah, it was bad messaging. And so everybody got extremely disappointed, myself included. I'm like, this is bullshit. But it's that when I went back and read the stuff, it's like, oh, okay. Maybe
Fine
they
print
never
and
said it.
technicalities. Right. Fine
Well,
print. And that's not what people expect from Gala. Again, because they're
do you
wooed
believe
in
what
with the
other marketing
speak.
do you believe when you buy things? When you buy a car, do you think that it's gonna be able to drive on water or something? I mean,
If they tell me in their marketing that this car will drive on water, then yes. And you can say,
Well,
"Oh, that's just marketing."
hope you never go buy
Bullshit.
a truck. They all
That's
show
what
trucks with going off road and some sort of off road trails and stuff like that. And you go and you find out you can't even get that truck, or that truck is like the $100,000 version of the truck.
Yeah, I mean, the 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 Gala Games side of this, I truly understand what they're trying to do, and I think that that is the vision that they have. I think that every direction they turn with this, because they say they want the flexibility, which they need, right? I get that. But that leads to bigger problems. That leads to terrible communication. That leads to people getting bent when they come back again with marketing that says, like with this box, oh, you'll get a lifetime reward from owning this box. But then they later on they come back and change the rules that like they put. I mean, we've changed our minds. Well, that was after people already made a buying decision. That's not right. And eventually, I think this is going to come back. The bigger they get and the bigger the players and the more eyes that are on this, it's going to come back and bite them. I think they really need to just define their vision now. And we say we don't want a white paper. I'm not demanding a white paper or
Well, that's
anything like that.
defining
So
your
people put
vision.
it in. But
It's going
define
to
the
paint you into
vision.
a corner.
Okay. But people, I'm telling you, when they're not getting bigger, sophisticated people coming into the platform because of that, because of the decisions that they made. So they end up with people who don't know what they're doing and then get bent when the $1,000 disappears that they thought they had, or they came in with the expectation of some hey, I'm going to buy this NFT for $800. It'll earn me something. And then they find out when they do the quick math that it's going to take 1,700 days for them at 2 town coin a day to get their to earn. And this is we've hit on this. Earn doesn't mean profit, people. Earn means earn. If you earn 2 tokens a day and they're only worth 14 cents, Gala's holding up their end of the bargain. They're letting you earn something. So I disagree with people that are bent because they can't make money here or they can't have a full-time job income level by play to earn. That's not what this is about. It's about earning, and Gala has done what they said they do. They're giving you earnings. So it's context. Everything is context. And
Okay,
that's why
yeah,
I've
just like
asked
a store
people to
card.
slow down with their buying.
Just like if you get a store card, or Visa card, earn money with every transaction you make. Well, the first thing you're going to think of is not that I can quit my job to earn money with a cashback Visa card. You're going to be like, oh, I'll probably get a better interest rate. Yeah, I realize they're like, play to earn. You're going to get all this money, but there is marketing. And I think the problem is because this area is so new, people don't even know what that means. They don't even understand the marketing. And so, of course, they believe all the marketing. And really what they believe is everybody crowing on YouTube going, oh, my God, I made $12,000 a month playing this silly little game. They don't mention that it only happened for a month while the token was in price discovery.
Well,
But they don't
and
mention that part.
they don't mention that they spent, $38,000 up front to get the NFTs in order to earn $12,000 a month. They don't explain that part until you're sucked in either. They highlight. Now, that's not Gala's problem, okay? These are independent people. It's not like there's Gala employees on these YouTube videos saying that. So you do have to differentiate that. But even the Gala marketing itself, the videos they put out from Galaverse, where they interviewed those people who were so grateful that, oh, I bought my mom's medicine for the first time we could afford this and afford that. So that marketing sticks with people. And there's somebody out there who spent 2 years saving $2,500 for the first time in their life because they have a hard life. They work 2 jobs and they think, oh, if that person can do it, so can I. And they spend that $2,500. Their expectations are the same as what they watched in that video. So I'm not saying that's a problem for Gala. What I'm saying is it's as you put it, lack of education. And I think Gala needs to be very upfront with their marketing and say, you're not going to replace your income with this. Is it possible to? Well, sure. But in order to do that, here's some things you'll probably have to do. Give that full disclosure. And when you release a Vox, the community should not have to hound the colored names for 2 weeks to understand and get a day before it releases some quick information. Oh yeah, by the way, it's not going to earn any rewards. It'll just buff your character. And then it gets buried in the 14,000 messages a day in Gala Gold. And then people buy this thing. And I've had several people, when I mention that, they go, wait, what? What do you mean it doesn't earn? Even you said, well, what do you mean it doesn't earn? I had to post the messages for you to
Wait,
see
it
it.
doesn't earn?
Yeah. So you bought and didn't even realize that, but that's the problem. They, in my opinion, they need
I
to get
asked
in
you,
front
we
of
talked
that.
about this beforehand, before I purchased, not after.
But my point is that for the 16,000 people that interact with Gala, I believe they deserve to have that up front. And I try and encourage people to know what you're buying before you buy it, because you will be butthurt and you will cry yourself to sleep if you end up spending that money and not getting what your expectations are out of it. If you look at me and you go, Titan, I want that Vox because I will be playing. My wife makes $300,000 a year as a Citibank executive, and I'm going to sit and be a dad while my kids are at school, and I'm going to play The Walking Dead 12 hours a day and love every minute of it. Dude, I will help you try and pick the right Vox to buy.
Hey, that's why I bought my Miranda's
Right?
land. But then
Right.
again,
So, but at the same time, there's all these people, they say, oh, this is my first Vox. And they're like, well, what's it going to do in the next sentence? They just bought it and they don't even know what it's going to do. And Gala doesn't even have a clue what it is. They're just selling shit because they can. That is going to come back to bite them, not only with a community that's hostile, but eventually someone is going to sue them eventually. And yes, Gala has more money than God at this point. Who cares? But it's the point of that. And that's going to catch the bad press. Can you see that coming out in Gamer Magazine or these top gamer websites? 9 players sue Gala Games because the expectations weren't what it was.
that's not going to happen until Gala gets a lot bigger. So right now, what? It's Discord that's being yelled at by their people and various game companies. I think I forgot what company makes Rainbow Six, the Rainbow Six set of games, but they came out with some NFTs, and there was incredibly large outcry about it. And I think just recently they just said, that was a nice experiment. We're done with these NFTs. We're not doing them anymore. Though those huge traditional gaming companies are going to get sued first because they have big names, are likely to get in the news. Right now, if Gala Games gets sued, people are going to be like, who the fuck's Gala Games? Gala Games, for what it's worth, is still pretty small. I mean, they have no marketing budget that I'm aware of. They're pretty small as far as gaming companies, but they will become known if they're as popular as we think. But then again, I would think if those lawsuits are just par for the course. That's what happens when you get popular. Okay, those lawsuits will change their behavior and will make them put more disclaimers on. It's sad that companies need to be sued in order to put those disclaimers on. It's when I see people trying to talk to Gala Games about, you guys should do this, you guys should do that, and Gala Games like, no, there's no rules here. We can do whatever we want. They're not wrong, but boy, it would be nice if they did a little bit of nice things to kind of let people know what they're getting into. I mean, they will say it if they reactively. if I say, what am I going to get from buying this node? Benefactor is going to say, don't buy a node. But it's more of a reactive thing. It's not a proactive thing. And I guess what we're all used to in today's world is more proactive warnings from companies. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? I mean, do you want your hand held every time you buy something? That's really what it burns down to. Yeah, I'm switching to going off on Titan now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason that on the tag of the hairdryer it says "Do not use in the bathtub." Right?
Oh shit! I've been using that in the bathtub for years. I shouldn't be doing
there's a
that.
reason for that, right? They either got sued or whatever. But if the Gala wants a good community, they have to, I think, rethink how they interact with that community. And I think it starts on the front end. The more you do on the front end, the less you're going to have to do on the back end. And I'm going to say another little controversial thing. So they kind of, it's, well, I shouldn't say they because I don't know. I don't work there. The situation has evolved into itself where their leading communicator and person that people respected and really interacted well with in Carrie Allen is taking more of a backseat role now. She's not the forward front facing communicator for Gala. And I think that's a mistake. I think Bucks and Carrie and people with those, Vera too, man. I love Vera. Those folks, they know how to interact with the community, and especially when things go sideways. And she's kind of been relegated to releasing announcements. And as she said when we talked to her last year, she's really integral in the Town Star side of things. I think if they use people a little bit differently, that could make a huge difference. And if they train people to that, if they could steal Bucks for like 2 weeks, right? And say, Bucks, stop doing, delegate some of your stuff over at Gala Music, and we're going to sit you in a video call with the community moderators and the red names who interact. And she's going to teach you how to react to the community. And I think Carrie needs to be put back on that front line of communication for everything Gala, not just Town Star announcements. I think they're wasting her talent doing that. She deserves to be the voice of Gala Games, is my opinion. That would fix, quite honestly, I think it would fix half of the problems that they have.
Yeah, I agree. I was just looking at the comment here from, I see a Japanese name. Google seems to think that name is Mugiwara. Is that right? Maybe you could say something about your name there. I'm going to call you Mugiwara. He says people need to realize Gala is marketing this stuff to us. They know we get the most hyped for it. Stay away from future potential utility stuff. Yeah, I agree. Well, the problem is they are making NFTs for games, and they do want to make it to whenever you buy a game. Oh, good, I got it right. They want to make it so that when we buy, Google Translate to the rescue.
Yes,
they want to make it to where when we buy an NFT that we're going to want to hold on to it and keep it and use it and so on.
Then tell us the rewards up front and the utility.
Well,
that'll make us want to hold it.
Their whole purpose is to get a bunch of companies together and make games. They have several, like over 10 different companies right now. I hear, making games for them. They want to be able to make deals with these future companies. So say, I don't know, they make a deal with Namco, who makes Pac-Man. And maybe they want to say if you have a Vox, you could get a special character in a new Pac-Man game. I mean, promising that you will have something in a new future game is not the best thing to do. You simply just say you're going to have something in this game and then just keep adding to it later. I can
Or
I can see what they're doing and why they're doing it. They want you to kind of read between the lines because they don't know if they can get future utility or not.
well, but that's the thing is, how do they come up with a price then? Just whatever they think people will pay? Yeah,
Yeah,
how do
that's what gets me is
they
I think it's almost obvious that the prices are what it's going for on OpenSea. Come on. And
Well,
it
no,
really
I'm talking about new NFTs, right? And
well,
if you go back,
there
I
are
have
competitors.
I
There
told
are
you I have like 500 screenshots from the Gala Games server. And one of the I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to go look at it. I can't remember if it was Bitbender or Benefactor that put out answering questions. Well, what is the price of the Vox going to be? And he says, well, what's the floor price of the Vox now? And I'm like, oh, that was the last thing you really wanted to say. Because again, you don't want to, as you've brought up many times, you don't want to price it to the secondary
you
market.
don't want to talk about the secondary
But
market. I mean, it's
then,
obviously there, but you can't base your business on the secondary market. That makes it a security.
and without having utility and reward, whatever the reward is, again, I don't want to hash this out 100 times, but reward could mean anything, monetary or buff, right? But then why sell it so goddamn early? That irritates me to no end.
I
If
think
you
it's
can't,
obvious that this money is used to make the game. I mean, haven't they stated that? I
okay.
don't.
So for Mirandus and for Townstar, yes, I understand that. But for these other games that are other platforms coming in, why can't they name the utility? Well, I, help me out with that. Why can't they name the utility? They get on the AMA and the people will say, oh, well, we're going to have utility for that. We're still designing the game. Okay, well, maybe then pick some companies who have games closer to ready to go so they can define the utility for the NFTs they're going to sell.
You're gonna
That's
have a problem with there because they're never going to know the future utility. Here's the way it's gonna work. It's like okay, a year or two from now. So we got this Walking Dead game out, hopefully, and we got the Voxes are working with that, but the Voxes, boy, they aren't hitting what we want to hit. Why don't we put it in that new Town Crush game and make a Walking Dead level? And if you have a Vox, then you can get extra exploding chickens in that Town Crush game, and then people will be like, "Wow, I'm glad I held on to this Walking Dead box." It represents an opportunity when things don't go out right. Say the Walking Dead game is a bust. Say it sucks. They're like, well, if you happen to have this NFT, you're in luck because then you can get they can sweeten the deal later with other things. So I like the aspect that they're not always going to announce what they're going to do with it. It gives them a lot of options. But I think it's obvious what they're doing with Voxes. They want to integrate them in everything. They have a Vox game, and until the Vox game is coming out, they're just including it in other games. In fact, this whole buff in the Walking Dead game, that's not even the primary purpose of that Vox. The primary purpose is to be in that Vox application that they're going to make, of which I don't know what they're going to do or when they're going to make it. But still, it's going to be in that game. That's what
I
you're
hope
actually
that's
buying it for.
awesome because that
It
is
better
like
be.
the sim. Well, it's like the Sim City. It's like a virtual character in a world. You can kind of do whatever you want. And that gets me excited because of the possibilities of integrating those games into it, like I talked to Carrie about. Um, if you have Voxverse, can you take because I almost said it. They alluded that these NFTs would be cross-platform to different games. Can you take your what's that one that people sold right away, that the something Dive Tavern or something like that for
Oh,
that
yeah.
legacy game? Can you take that into Voxverse and buy a plot of land with your character and drop that in there and have a little tavern on it? I mean, how cool would that be? That would be groundbreaking and that would be
That's
epic.
fine. They have those though they still have an opportunity to do that based upon feedback, and if enough people clamor for it, they would probably do it. By the way, a little aside about the Voxverse, isn't it obvious that there's Decentraland and there's Sandbox? I think I really get the feeling that Vox is their answer to Decentraland and Sandbox. I mean, you think what the hell are you going to do in just a little place where your Vox can walk around? What are they going to do? I think they have well right making a Decentraland, really. So, and then in the meantime, they're just keeping people interested by saying you can earn town coin with it, you can earn spider tank coin or whatever with it. Hopefully, you can. And if people get pissed off about if not enough people play the Walking Dead game, then you're going to see the boxes being used in something else because they do want to keep people interested. There's nothing wrong with that, but they're not going to be able to say that in advance because they're managing it as time is going on. They want to get feedback from you before they give you all the goods. It makes a certain amount of sense.
So what I will say, in Gala's defense, and I shouldn't say defense because we're not pitting Gala against anybody, or at least I hope we're not doing that. This recent Town Star change and all the different things that they're doing, the colored names, especially the devs, I've seen them in the Gala server truly interacting with people and asking questions. And there's one Town Star person that I won't name that is all ears for feedback and takes that feedback very seriously and is helping this person shape the vision of putting Townstar's community ideas together with what ideas Gala Games and the Townstar developers are trying to build. And I think that's amazing. That is what excited me about Gala, about that community ownership. And they have stepped up to do that. But then people get butthurt because they're like, well, they didn't take my idea. Why didn't they take my idea? I'm just a worthless person on the Gala server. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Do you know how many people give feedback and give ideas? Thousands. They can't possibly do everything everybody wants. But when they see themes, if 22 people have alluded to the fact that they want to be able to trade with their neighbors, I can tell you from personal experience that catches their ear and they will see what they can do about that. So I think that is the community interaction that they want. And you mentioned it in having a conversation leader or a person that brings up topics and does like a flash, what do they call those, stage thing?
What I was actually suggesting was the very idea I have for CryptoFaz. We just haven't had a lot of people into it. If you notice, we have some people that are called guides. The guides are people in the CryptoFaz Discord that I want to see bringing up conversations, talking about new cryptos and stuff like that. And that's why we're doing the Dean's List stuff.
Yeah,
And I would like to see that with what Gala is doing because they have so much opportunity. There are 500 million things to talk about regarding that. I mean, you could go to town on just like the clothing of one character in a game
right.
for getting input. You could say, okay, well, we're going to make a character that's going to be designed by the Discord, and then people could and they keep people going for a week. I swear. So they have so many areas to get into, and I still feel like they're still trying to wrap their arms around what they're doing. I still get a strong feeling that Gala hasn't completely figured out what they want to do yet. They know that they want to get other gaming companies in on things. I think that they want to be an aggregator of games, but what kind of aggregator job are they going to do? Are they just going to rope people together? Or are they actually going to encourage people to play these games or to talk about them and so on? Okay, well then you need a lot of band leaders for that. You need an MC for your show here, where people are constantly entertained and made interested in a lot of things. I I see that happening here and there. I would think by now that there would be a stronger focus on that, but I get a feeling that what they're doing right now, they're probably barely keeping up with.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
And okay, if that's the case, I agree with what you're saying. Be honest about it. Say, hey, we're still ramping up. We want to get more involved with this. We want to have people talk about this, and we're finding that this is hard. We've got to write up when we have an AMA about something. We have to have a whole lot of homework beforehand and quite a bit afterward, and we have to write down all the promises we made. I get the feeling they're not doing that. It's us. It's the community that seems to be doing that a lot, writing down all their promises.
Yes.
That,
And do you want
that's
to
a
talk
plug.
about that at all?
That's a
Do
plug
you?
for a channel we have in the CryptoFaz Discord.
Yes. The Thune list,
A Thune
as
list.
they say. And we have a big list of things that were plucked out of the Gala Games Discord in terms of this is what we're going to do, and or promises, and or whatever you want to call them, things we're working on. And there's a list of things that were completed and things that are outstanding. So it is something we we want. I think we're all in agreement, and I mean by the community and with you, Faz, we're all in agreement. I think that we want to have a better relationship from the community side with Gala, but we have to be the leaders in that. We cannot go over to the Gala Discord and be assholes. We can't do that. We have to be polite. We have to ask questions. If we have a tough question, bring it up here. Gala listens to our casts. A lot of them won't admit it, but they listen to it.
Gala also lurks on our Discord. They see everything we're talking about. I get DM'd by people from Gala from time to time saying, "What the hell's the deal with this?" and so on. They know what you're talking about. Great. Say all the things over at CryptoFaz that you can't say over there. Let's get them talking about it. If people start talking smack, talking shit that they don't know, I'll pin their asses to the wall. Okay, prove it, dude. Oh, you're just gonna say shit and you can't give any evidence for it. I mean, I'll happily chase people down.
Well, and that's the thing is we're very, very tolerant with what we have people the ability to say here, and I love that. But you can't take that over to the Gala Discord. You That's their world, and they're going to prune that world to what they see. And Faz talks about it, and I'm going to reiterate it here. If we had the CryptoFaz gaming company and we decided as a community we're going to start up our own Gala Games kind of thing, right? And people were speaking the way that we see some of the people speak over at the Gala Discord who either get banned or timed out or anything else, we would do the same thing here. Because all the new people that are coming over to Gala Games for the first time, they're excited. They learned about Gala Games. They're like, oh man, I can't wait for these games to come out. Think of your excitement when you first started. And you buy gold, you spend what is it now, $50, $75, and you get the gold, and you go into the gold room, and the first thing you see is someone saying, you know what, this Town Star shit sucks. I mean, is
Hey,
that a
Bob, I
good
paid my
experience?
$50 to tell you what I think of you.
Right? So is that a good experience? Is that going to help Gala Games get somewhere? No. But if you have a question and you think that Town Star sucks because you got booted out 7 times because a server resets, be respectful and say, "Hey guys, I mean, come on, what's the deal with me getting booted 7 times? You know, I'm trying really hard to learn how to play the game, and I keep having to start over again. Can you share what's going on so at least I know what to prepare for?" Now, Town Star sucks, this is stupid, or present it that way. And I'll bet you that if it isn't a dev, it'll be one type of colored name or another and be like, dude, I'm really sorry. we're having issues with this, and this. We're working on it. We hope to have it fixed within 24 hours. So instead of getting banned or timed out for being pissed off and going in there like an asshole, you actually get an answer to your question, and you can rest assured that they're working on it. There's the difference. So I agree with Faz. If you go in hot over at Gala and you get spanked or whatever you want to call it, it's your own fault. Don't act like that. And I don't want our people here, because we have an excellent community here. I spend every moment I can in CFA because I love the people that I get to talk to. And I don't want us to get a reputation for going over there and being assholes. Let's coordinate here. Let's present them in a way. If you look in the Gala Gold Room, Jesse made a comment in there that he enjoys talking to Faz because of the way that Faz presents issues, problems, concerns, pats on the back, and everything else.
Well,
he's got someone's ear there, right? So when they talk in the Discord,
I don't personalize it. I don't personalize it. I don't say, well, it's because you're being an asshole, which I do think that Jesse does have tone issues. It's not going to be helpful for me to try and correct him when I'm talking to him about issues that he clearly has a ton of control over. It's like, hey, the underlying problem, whatever was said back and forth, the underlying problem seems to be this. What do you think about that? He might say, well, that person was pretty rude. Maybe they would, and a lot of times they'll say maybe they would have gotten quite a bit farther had they said it the way you said it. I mean, it's obvious. Companies get insulted too, and companies are made up of humans, and each of those humans will get insulted. Benefactor, I'm sure, gets insulted at things people say to them if people tell them to go fuck off.
Yeah, I mean, just take a different route with that. And if you need to vent, you can vent as long as it's respectful and not pointed at people and everything else. You can come vent in the channels here, and we'll talk to you about it. But nobody, I mean, very rare. I think I threatened one person once. I don't like F-bombs. My kids are on here. Other people's kids get on here. We don't want F-bombs and a lot of dirty language, even though we're dropping them like crazy here on Faz Radio, right? My 12-year-old.
Hey, this is our fun, okay?
Yeah, no, okay. Well, my 12-year-old told me that. He's like, wow, you swear a lot on there. I'm like, shut up and go to your room.
Let me explain. let me explain why I don't like F-bombs on CryptoFaz. Because it's not that I don't use it myself, but if you can't even compose yourself enough to pay attention to your language, then you're just bitching. And it brings the wrong type of people. The more people start bitching with F-bombs and stuff like that everywhere, the worse it gets. So if you're at least trying to clean things up a little, that shows that you're exercising some tolerance, and it actually works. Because now when people aren't using F-bombs with each other, they're not misinterpreting what the other person's saying. It's forcing people to actually think. So yes, it's a total psychological ploy. Thank you for being my unwilling audience.
Yeah, so we've been going for a while, so we should probably wrap up. What I do want to say also is congratulations to the first 3 Dean's List people in CFA.
Yeah, could you go into the Dean's List a bit more?
Yeah, I do. So we've put it in text and everything else. It is people who go above and beyond to help others, who are fantastic community members. And that doesn't mean you can't have a bad day, but it's people who interact, who I see interacting with others and explaining things and bringing new things to the channels.
It's the very thing.
Cryptos.
It's the very thing we want to see on the Gala Discord. If we can't get it there, let's do it here. Okay.
Right.
Let's do the leading that we would like to see elsewhere.
And those people who step up and do those things, we notice. Faz and I talk about certain people all the time, and we're so grateful that they're here. And this, I can't say it enough. This community is so epic. And the people who do stand out with that stuff, I want to honor them. Faz wants to honor them. We want them to have their name up on the side as a Dean's List recipient. And I want to have to call Faz up in one of our evening chats and say, dude, I'm out of Dean's List NFTs. I need some more. That's my goal and that's my dream with this. I want people who are outstanding and that welcome people into the Discord and teach them something.
Well,
Every
it's
day they
something
learn something new.
I want it to be something to be earned. Right now, we only have three. We have three people that have gotten it, and I want people to actually try to earn it. I mean, it's something that people should want. So it's years from now when we're wildly popular and we're on every radio station in the United States, and you'll be able to say we were a CryptoFaz Dean's List. I was a
And
CryptoFaz. Wow, really?
yeah,
You?
and I think what we'll do too is Faz and I are ridiculously busy outside of Faz Radio and such, and we tried the stage and that worked out well. We got to do that more. I want to have I want community members to be joining us on Faz Radio. I mean, all you do is click a link, you can join in the conversation. We want those other opinions. We want other people to be heard.
What if we did that with the Dean's List people? That way we could, because those people in a way would be vetted because obviously they've gotten the Dean's List, but you could tell that they're going to have refined comments on things rather than, all this is shit. This is crap. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you.
Well, and again, you have a very eloquent way of putting things, and I'm just Mr. Reality, and I just throw words out there, what I'm thinking, and that's a great match. And you know your personality, and it's you've heard me say things on these radio broadcasts. I speak my mind, but I don't. I'm not rude. I'm not disrespectful. But when I see good things, I'll call them out. When I see things that I don't agree with, I'll call that out too. And we want that from our Dean's List recipients, not only in CFA Discord, but please just send us a note and say, hey, I'd love to be on Faz Radio when you talk about this, or we'll share with maybe Dean's List recipients what we're going to be talking about. And if you want to join the conversation, please do.
All right. On that note, it's been like an hour and a half, and I have like things to do. And you have things
Oh,
to
and
do.
it doesn't have to be Gala stuff either. We're CFA. We're not GFA.
Well, we've been talking about it we've been talking about Gala way too much.
Well, we're all deep in it. We love it, and so yeah, it's a common thing.
My goal,
we want the whole thing.
One of my goals was to grab a bunch of Gala people at the Gala Discord and find out things about crypto from them, because I wanted to learn about crypto. That's why it's named what it is. It's not intended to be a Gala fan club, but of course, most of our people come from the Gala Discord, so we definitely, I don't have a problem talking about it. In fact, once Miranda gets going, I might even want a separate podcast about that.
Right.
But I want to hear some additional cryptos and stuff.
Yeah, there's been a flurry this past couple of days, people posting stuff I saw that's excellent. And I think you even tagged me today on one to do some research on.
That period thing.
Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll look into just about anything. But again, we don't want people just dropping crap in there and having us do research. We're not your research monkeys here.
Well, help us.
You to have
lives too,
Tell us what it's about, what your experience is with it, what you know about it, and if it sounds good to be presented to the community. I have no problem spending a few hours digging into stuff, because it'll help us all. And we're all here to have fun, to make some money, hopefully, and really take everybody who wants to learn about this stuff to a new level. That's what it's about.
All right, we got to get going. I have to. We have dinner starting up here soon.
Yeah, I haven't eaten yet either.
Kids looking at me through my office window here. So, thank you guys very much for hanging out with us, and let's see you next week.
Till we talk again. Thanks.